See people in the sidebar. Thank you. Okay, so shall we get started? All right. Hello, welcome. This is very exciting. You were part of the red carpet. That was the red carpet, by the way. Welcome to the 2025 GMIC Awards. My name is MK Serwick.
And I'm Shelley Wall.
I'm Bruce Tunda.
And I am Kevin Wolf.
And we are the Graphic Medicine International Collective Awards Committee.
And we are here to announce the winners of the GMIC Awards, which recognize outstanding health-related comic projects completed and or published in 2024.
This is the fourth year of our awards. They are made possible by a generous matching gift in honor of Nancy and Herbert Wolf. Nan and Herb were married for 61 years. They raised 4 children and enjoyed their 2 grandchildren. Nan was an artist and a medical records administrator. Herb was an actuary. As college students in the late 1940s, Nan and Herb fought racial discrimination in the United States, sitting in at segregated lounge counters. They supported anti-racist, anti-war, and economic social justice causes throughout their lives. This award is intended to honor and carry on their legacy of service and care.
And we want you to know that the selection process for the GMIC Awards for Outstanding Work in Graphic Medicine has 2 stages, each with 2 different groups of judges. The entire process is carefully administered to control for bias and conflict of interest.
The judges are recruited to include representation from a range of graphic medicine subcommunities, cartoonists, academics, clinicians, librarians, comics critics and reviewers, and comics critters, and persons with lived experience of illness, caregiving, and or disability.
The first stage of our process is to develop a short list from submissions in 3 categories: long form, which are works longer than 28 pages, short form, works of 28 pages or less, and new this year, educational comics of any length. We received this year 90 submissions in total for all 3 categories.
And we acknowledge and thank our shortlisting judges with those 90 entries. This is very labor-intensive work, and we are very grateful to you for doing this work. And we want to acknowledge each individually. So the 2025 shortlist judges are Andrew Field, A. David Lewis, Alan Koss, Emil Wilson, Esther Saltzman, Soph Myers-Kelly, Rachel Bild, Shelley Wall, and Kevin Wolf, who chaired this portion of the process.
And I have to say, as a shortlisting judge, it was an incredible privilege to get to read that much graphic medicine in a very short period of time. It was a real honor and a pleasure. The second stage of our award process is to decide from the shortlists the winners of the 2025 Outstanding Works of Graphic Medicine. And this is done by a new panel of judges. These judges read the shortlisted texts and meet via Zoom multiple times if necessary to discuss the works and decide on a winner in each category. And so we would like to thank our 2025 award judges, Matthew No, Janet Chan, Michael Green, Alice Scavarda, Tanir Oxman, Anne-Marie Joutel, Marianne Pettit, and Teresa Wong, and Ian Williams, who chaired this part of the process.
We know why we are here. Let us begin the awarding process for 2025 by introducing the shortlist winners in all 3 categories. Here are the comics shortlisted for our new award category, Outstanding Work of Educational Graphic Medicine.
there's sound for this.
MK, if there's audio, it's not coming through.
Of maternal deaths and morbidities. It can lead to physical, social, and financial burdens for women, communities, and health systems. I've been pro-choice as far back as I can remember, but it wasn't until my own abortion that I became more involved in abortion rights advocacy and storytelling. Abortion is not uncommon, and most abortions happen early in pregnancy. According to the Guttmacher Institute, in 2020, about 1 in 5 pregnancies, excluding pregnancies that end in miscarriages, ended in abortion. The true number is probably even higher, as this study only included abortion overseen by a physician and did not account for self-managed abortions. According to the CDC's 2020 abortion survey, 81% of abortions occurred at 9 weeks of pregnancy or earlier, and nearly all, 93% of abortions occurred at 13 weeks of pregnancy or earlier. I've been creating sex education comics and illustrations for the past 11 years. Studying sex ed has made it clear. Unplanned pregnancies happen, and they are nothing to be ashamed of or punished for. Abortion is vital health care. Comprehensive abortion care is included in the list of essential healthcare services published by WHO in 2020. According to the World Health Organization, evidence shows that restricting access to abortions does not reduce the number of abortions that take place. In fact, restrictions are more likely to drive women and girls towards unsafe procedures. In countries where abortion is most restricted, only 1 in 4 abortions are safe, compared to nearly 9 in 10 countries where the procedure is broadly legal. The authors of this zine believe that access to a safe abortion is a human right. People who can get pregnant have been finding ways to control reproductive future for thousands of years. We're powerful, we're clever, and we take care of each other. This zine aims to provide readers with public knowledge of mifepristone and misoprostol as options, even as laws and access change. It's vital that an abortion be safe in medical terms, but that's not enough on its own. As with any other health service, abortion care needs to respect the decisions and needs of women and girls, ensuring that they are treated with dignity and without stigma or judgment. No one should be exposed to abuse or harms like being reported to the police or put in jail because they have sought or provided abortion care. Dr. Bella Ganatra, head of WHO's Prevention of Unsafe Abortion Unit.
Hi, my name is Sarah Peitzmeyer, and I'm going to share an excerpt from our book, Breathe, Journeys to Healthy Binding, which I wrote with Maya Kobabe and was illustrated by Maya. C, 19 years old, he, they. I was very not about it when I started puberty. When I was 10 or 11, I started wearing a swimsuit under my clothes to try to keep things flat, like they used to be. When my mom finally got me some sports bras, I would wear 2 or 3 of them on top of each other. I remember one time playing tennis while wearing 3 sports bras. When I tried to inhale, it felt like my lungs could only expand halfway. Are you okay? Can't breathe. I need a minute. Before then, I'd never thought wearing external things could affect your lungs. I just thought lungs were independent and they had their own room inside. When I first realized I was trans and non-binary, I was really scared. I wasn't ready to grapple with it, so At first, I thought all the gender stuff I was doing was temporary. I wasn't ready to accept that I was going to be trans for the rest of my life, that it was forever. I was afraid if I did anything about it, I would need to do more things, and that scared me because I just wasn't ready to fully handle it. Even though I was layering sports bras all the time, which made me feel better, but I was also asking myself, what does this mean? What's that going to mean for my future? Thinking about it sucks. Maybe I just won't think about it for a while. So for a while, I stopped binding so I could stop asking myself those questions. But then I also stopped eating and started exercising a lot. At the time, it seemed good because I had less curves. I was operating my body at a remove. I was not in my body. In order to function in the world, there was a certain degree of dissociation that I just had as a baseline. I had accepted the idea that I was supposed to be uncomfortable with my body. And that was okay because my body was not really for me. I feel like I've been unlearning that from age 15 or 16 till now. And learning to own the space that I take up and understand it's my body and it is for me. I'm going to do what I want and what feels best, as opposed to just accepting the discomfort. Eventually, I accepted that it was a real thing. How I felt was valid. I started to be able to articulate that I wasn't comfortable with my body, but I didn't really know what to do about it. In high school, I learned about transgender identities and finally had words to describe dysphoria and identity. I learned that binders exist, and I ordered a real one. When it arrived, I tried to put it on and struggled. I had to step into it and shimmy it up feet first. It took 5 sweaty minutes. It was so tight that I could barely move or breathe. And I pulled something in my neck trying to get it off again. Ow! My mom had to rescue me. This can't be right. Where did you get this? I'm ordering you a bigger size. Waiting for the next size to come in the mail was the longest week of my life. But then I put it on, and it actually looked better than the smaller size, and it didn't leave red marks on my skin. The level of excitement I had around the binder, it helped me be more sure of myself. If something brings you that much happiness, you should listen to it. I also started trying trans tape. I went to the beach with my friends over the summer, and I wore the tape into the ocean. Binding makes my body feel more like my own. It affects how I want to take care of myself. It eased a lot of my anxiety and depression. It helped me climb back out of an eating disorder. Binding gave me the freedom to exist. I've considered taking hormones, but I don't think I'm ready for that. Without society's perception of me as female, I wouldn't even be thinking about hormones. But even if I was totally in isolation, I'd still be binding. Binding is something I do for myself.
Explain cancer to me number 2. What causes cancer? Your body is made of millions of cells. In each cell center is a nucleus which contains DNA. DNA is made up of thousands of genes. Genes tell your cells how to keep your body alive and healthy. When genes change or are damaged, the cell may not work the way it is supposed to anymore. What causes cells to turn into cancer? Sometimes changes occur to your genes, and this may lead to cancer developing in your body. Genetic changes, which we call mutations, can happen in a few different ways. Mistakes can happen in genes randomly when cells make DNA. Things in the world around us can change our genes. We can inherit genetic mutations from our parents, just like we can inherit traits like our eye color. 5 to 10% of cancers are caused by inherited genetic mutations. Having genetic changes does not mean that an individual will get cancer. Cancer risk factors can be divided into 2 categories: modifiable, in our control, and non-modifiable, not in our control. We do not always know what has caused cancer for a specific patient. Usually, cancer is caused by many gene mutations that build up over time. Let's talk about modifiable risk factors. These can include what we eat, such as too much processed meats and some artificial food additives. Hey, stop saying bad things about me. How'd you get so big? Could you always talk? Hey, junk food isn't the only bad guy. Drinking too much alcohol can sometimes cause genetic mutations too. Additionally, tobacco contains over 7,000 chemicals, at least 250 of which are harmful to our bodies. There are things outside our home that can cause genetic mutations too. For example, UV rays from the sun. Some viruses like human papillomavirus or HPV and hepatitis B can cause cancer. Air pollution from cars, factories, and wildfires. Oh geez, now I'm feeling really stressed about my health. I totally understand this is a lot of information to process. I hope you will find it helpful to know that prevention and early detection can lower the rate of adult cancer by 30 to 50% and lower cancer death by over 50%. No matter what changes a person does or does not make, it is not their fault if they get cancer. There are important actions we can take to help lower our risk of getting cancer. Eat a healthy diet of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and drink less alcohol. Get vaccinated against hepatitis B and human papillomavirus, HPV. Avoid tobacco use. This includes cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and vapes. Quitting tobacco can be really hard, but luckily there are resources to help. Move your body and exercise. Use sunscreen and wear protective clothing when you are outside during the day, even when it doesn't look sunny. As your doctor, I can help you access tests to see if you have common genetic mutations that are linked to cancer and suggest screenings to make sure existing cancer is caught early. There are a lot of reasons genetic mutations can happen. When we combine prevention strategies with screening and testing, we are doing our best to live healthy lives and prevent cancer. Here are the papers and websites that helped inform this comic.
Hi, I'm Anne Fink.
I'm Casey Counselor.
And we are going to read to you from our piece, Gendered Bodies.
How do you think that comics help us to talk about gender and health?
Well, in biomedical science, we're so often stuck with these binary stories of gender and sex. And sometimes we do need reductionist models, but then these stories become very unsatisfying. They can distort scientific understanding and become harmful. We become limited to this narrow corridor of gender, sex, and sexuality, and we need more complex stories. Comics can help with that.
It's tough. Sometimes the science of gender, sex, and sexuality can be validating, but also we tend to treat biological science as a more real form of knowledge, while we're in a period of contraction in the humanities and facing a backlash to increased visibility and acceptance of queerness and transness, an existential threat. Comics can get at the human impact, and they queer traditional forms of scholarship. It's not easy to make comics. This is about as three-dimensional as you can get in a 2D art form. Here's another question. Are there things in academic science and medicine, the implicit kind of things, that others don't know about?
Yeah, science is really messy. It doesn't happen the way most people imagine, with champagne corks popping, a big discovery. No, it's slow and it's messy, and that's okay. That's how science is supposed to work. The best scientists aren't necessarily chasing the next flashy thing, but they are curious and they're able to embrace ambiguity. And just like science is deep down messy, so are gender and sexuality. Now, people sometimes have trouble tolerating that ambiguity and messiness, and this can explain some of the hostility against trans, gender diverse, and bisexual people. They challenge others' sense of certainty. But this anxiety can lock everybody into these limiting binary boxes.
Which also means that we queer folks feel such pressure to make ourselves palatable, even though our outsider perspectives are so valuable. Because the queer lens is valuable. For instance, I've experienced being different genders in the same lifetime, in different kinds of relationships. Now I know how to be a man in a way that isn't harmful to women. I can teach other men.
So what story should we tell through this lens?
Well, definitely the stories about queer folks who avoid healthcare or have to hide experiences of invisibility.
Right. And stories of women defending themselves against being dismissed or abused, people who get pushed out.
Some people can't just see any doctor.
And not everyone gets to be seen as a scientist.
And we want to tell success stories too when things go right.
We can peek into the messiness and entanglement of it all, health, illness, and power outside of the two checkboxes. And now we have just one example of the narratives that we've told in our comic. This one is trans broken arms.
There's a phenomenon that we in the community call trans broken arm syndrome. It looks like this.
I fell on the ice and my arm really hurts. So, how long have you been on estrogen?
And it's not limited to arms.
At what age did you know about the stabbing pain in my belly?
There are variations.
I'm having surgery next week. Oh, the surgery? No, what? My back.
The paradox is that not everything about our bodies and health is about our sex, hormones, and surgeries.
I love the eye doctor because I just get to be a person. Same, and the dentist, just get to be human.
But our lives, our well-being, ourselves can't be separated from our transness.
So you've just been couch surfing for the last 6 months? Parents kicked me out when I came out.
All right, and we'll stop there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Annika Mengwal, and I'm going to be reading a short educational comic put together by our team in the Department of Otolaryngology at the Yale School of Medicine. It was developed for a clinical trial to evaluate the comic's efficacy in improving attitudes and understandings on the role of HPV in head and neck cancer. So, let's talk about the HPV vaccine. Meet the most common STI in the United States. I'm human papillomavirus, HPV for short. Why is my ENT talking about this? There are many reasons why your ear, nose, throat, ENT doctor cares about their patient's status on HPV vaccination. They boil down to the following 4 key facts. Fact number 1. HPV is associated with throat cancer in any individual as well as cervical cancer in females. HPV affects the throat. You're mine now, throat. HPV affects reproductive organs, most notably the cervix, in females. Fact number 2. Nearly everybody, 70 to 90% of individuals, has been or will be exposed to HPV, including you. Your doctor, your friend, your parent, your niece, your son, your neighbor, your teacher, your boss. Fact number 3. Individuals infected with HPV may not know they ever had an HPV infection, so they infect others. Hello, what's your name? It's not HPV, I swear. Hehehe, you may never know my name. Fact number 4. The HPV vaccine can prevent throat cancer in everybody, cervical cancer in females, and the HPV infection itself. The HPV vaccine prevents HPV infection, keeps the cervix safe, and protects the throat. As of June 2020, the HPV vaccine is officially approved for prevention of head and neck cancers. The HPV vaccine is strongly recommended for all individuals between the ages of 9 to 45 years old. As otolaryngologists, we specialize in ears, noses, and throats. Our responsibility to our patients is to treat current health issues and prevent future serious problems like cancer. Oropharyngeal cancer is increasing drastically, and the #1 leading cause of this throat cancer is HPV infection. HPV is primarily transmitted through close contact with others, so vaccination is encouraged prior to any intimate activity. Talk to your doctor about the HPV vaccine for more information. Thank you.
And the winner of this year's Outstanding Work of Educational Graphic Medicine is, drumroll here, Breathe, Journeys to Healthy Binding by Maya Kobabe and Sarah Peitzmeier, published by Penguin Random House. The judges appreciated the personal stories in Breathe that served to highlighting issues surrounding binding. We hadn't seen previously any comics devoted to this subject. We liked the clear artwork and the pacing of the stories. Maya and Sarah will share $600 US prize money and a commemorative trophy. Congratulations. Kevin, you are muted.
Okay, it is my pleasure to share the shortlist for the 2025 GMIC Awards for Outstanding Work of Short Form Graphic Medicine.
Closing the Gap, how a church hospital intervention on Chicago's West Side is aiming to reduce hypertension, by myself, Josh Neufeld. I'll be reading with Sari Wilson. We're going to skip to middle of the story. For the heart-to-heart study, the group focused on improving diet and medication adherence. But crucial to the project overall were community health workers, CHWs, church members who were hired and trained to work with the study participants. Teresa Berriman, lead community health worker, Rush University System for Health.
That church-hospital relationship was key. CHWs can relate to that community in a much easier way than medical providers or academia can, because they are familiar faces. One thing I've learned is that they don't trust just anyone to come into their homes or to establish relationships with.
Ultimately, about 80 parishioners were chosen for the intervention. There we see the gender ratio and the median age. Participants were required to have uncontrolled, very high blood pressure and be willing to visit with a CHW twice a month for 6 months. The CHWs would check their blood pressure, go over their diets, and stress the importance of taking their prescribed medications. Anthony Hickson, community health worker, New Landmark MB Church. You had to also educate them on how much salt intake and sugar intake they should have daily. I'll tell them something simple as reading the label on the back of a can. Because now you start realizing how much sodium, how much sugar they have in that can of food.
Okay, that's way too much.
So a lot of people went home and start throwing canned goods away because it has too much sodium in it.
Anthony was our star community health worker. He probably had the best engagement and the most effective work with his participants. Yeah, he had the biggest blood pressure reduction. He made it very clear how much he genuinely cared about people. He drove long distances to meet his participants at the time that they were available. He really went the extra mile.
The CHWs also found ways to reduce everyday stress, which can affect blood pressure.
He actually fixed people's toilets. He fixed church things that were falling apart. One time, he fixed the railing on the stairs going into one of the churches because he noticed it was falling off.
I also do carpentry and stuff. One guy, he was having trouble with the lock, so it really wasn't major. And then, like she said, one old lady, she had a problem with her toilet. I got that fixed. Community work is not work for people. It stops being work and it's just a lifestyle. People call you, people see you, you're in the community anyway. That's the person you are.
My name is Dr. Ryan Montoya, and today I'm going to read an excerpt from my short story, I Now Pronounce You Dead. Pronouncing someone dead isn't a complicated procedure. It is, however, very deliberate. Before entering the room, you need to ask the nurse some details. When did their pulse stop? When did he stop breathing? When did cardiac activity cease? Is the patient an organ donor? Is an autopsy required? Odd series of questions. But the strangest part of walking into that room is how still everything seems. Telemetry and intercoms dissolve into silence. Family members are tranquil. They knew this moment was coming. Good evening, I'm Dr. Montoya. Our team has been caring for Mr. Strickland, and I'm here to examine him before making a pronouncement. Would you like to stay for this process? Yes. Do you have any questions for me? How do you know he's dead? Freddie, stop it. Important question. I'm glad he had the courage to ask. Step 1. Verbally identify the patient. Step 2. Note any hypothermia. Step 3. Note appearance and any spontaneous movement. Step 4. Note reaction to tactile stimulation. Check by pinching near the armpit. Step 5. Note absent pupillary light reflex. Pupils should be fixed and dilated. Step 6. Ensure absent lung sounds or heartbeat for an extended period. I usually do a minute. It feels endless. It's odd that a universal protocol to confirm death doesn't exist. Want to call it? Sure. Weird things can happen without a protocol. Fuck. 58, 59, 60. Here's where you officially pronounce the name of the deceased and the time of death for hospital and state records. What's interesting about pronouncement? It's legal language. In select professions, certain words have legal consequences. You're under arrest. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Julius Strickland, time of death, 10:50 p.m. In the eyes of the law, this patient is now officially dead, even if his heart or brain stopped 23 minutes ago. I've always found that gap in time haunting. Thank you.
This is an excerpt from Sunflowers by Keezy Young. Most people think mania is fun. It is sometimes. It's so many ideas, I can barely hold them all. They're good ideas, and I have the energy to carry them out, and the time since I no longer need to sleep. Sunflowers, I love you. The color of the sky, I love you too. Sunflower high five. Cass Elliot of the Mamas and Papas, I love you. Tears of strong emotion. Hello, I love you. Some guy I don't know. All my doubts and anxieties flutter away. The world has problems, but I can solve them. I will solve them with love and kindness and comics. I'll have to skip my day job and generally the idea of making an income to do this important work of saving the world with my comics, but that will all work itself out. Extremely dressed up for the grocery store. Also, everyone is my friend, and I am pretty and smart and funny. Naturally, this will also make the world a better place. Actual picture of me. Rare. I reach out to exes, coworkers, old high school friends, teachers who don't even like me, and try to call my doctor at 2 a.m. just to chat because she's lovely and I think it's nice. It's okay because I'm going to be rich and famous soon, any day now. And yeah, I go shopping a lot and clean my apartment a lot. For some reason, I also really want to become Catholic. Catechisms, not religious. If I could live my whole life here, I would. This part is beautiful. This part is perfect. We don't need to acknowledge the fallout yet. In this part, nothing can go wrong. Oh, it very much can. Everything is wonderfully, cosmically connected, and I can take on the world. Colors are brighter, music more vivid. Every breeze and ray of sun speaks truth and love to me. Hypomania, an episode lasting at least 4 days, but possibly weeks or months, in which you display a revved up energy or activity level, mood, or behavior. The new energized you is recognized by others as beyond your usual self. Hypomania is a less severe form of mania. It does not require hospitalization or include psychosis. Hypomania isn't fun for everyone, but for me, usually, it's euphoria. Diagnostically, there's a line that gets crossed somewhere where hypomania turns into mania. The reality isn't so clear cut. I just know that sometimes I go crazy. This is an excerpt from The Sisters, True Stories from an ICU, written by Ernesto Barberi, illustrated by Jess Rollifson. When Helen could no longer breathe, they brought her to the hospital. Day 1. Paramedics couldn't tell us much, but she appeared unwell. What's that sound? Helen, can you hear us? Helen, Helen. She'd been living in a care home on the fringes of the city. Okay, let's check her skin. A knee surgery, gone septic. Her sisters, Amelia and Rose, came later that night. They followed all our protocols, all our little rules. They kept their masks pinched over their noses. We never saw their faces. Rose had been a nurse. She was Helen's legal proxy, her decision maker. Amelia took great interest in the bags of fluid we hung from hooks above Helen's bed. Whenever Dr. White adjusted the ventilator settings, Amelia would listen and nod, silently transmitting her acquiescence. Rose, though, maybe Rose wasn't so sure. She seemed dubious of the whole operation, the injections, the hourly reflex checks, the midnight trips to MRI, all the medical baubles and knickknacks we dragged into the room. It happened a lot, too often. We'd get these patients and they'd languish, held in stasis, hostages of medicine, scanned, probed, drained. Despite possible unvoiced doubts, the sisters were united and unwavering. Believe me, I wouldn't want this, but I'm not her, you understand. I am not my sister, and Helen, she was very clear she wants everything done. We leaned in closer. We were trying to understand. When did she say this? Many times. Do everything. That's what she said. Had she said this recently? Recently enough? How recently? Oh, I don't know, weeks? But it seemed to us, from the size of her tracheostomy, that Helen hadn't spoken in a very long time. Look, if she hadn't told me, I'd sign the DNR right now. No, you don't have to sign anything tonight. I'd say pull the plug, but that's not what Helen wanted. No, don't pull any plugs. We moved Helen down the end of the hall into a large room with spectacular views of the cloudscapes over Boston. We anticipated a long stay. Day 7. We're maxed out. We can't go any higher. She's not oxygenating. The gases won't exchange. Yes, I see. We understand. But it was clear that they did not see. They did not understand.
Hello, my name is Ashley Robin Franklin. I am the artist behind Uprooted Voices of Student Homelessness, made in collaboration with Alexandra E. Pavlakis, Meredith P. Richards, J. Kessa Roberts, and Casey McKinney. And I'm going to be reading a short snippet of our comic. It's getting late anyway. Why don't you go and get yourself ready? Right, yeah, okay. I wonder what my friends would say if they knew we've been sleeping in the car all week. I haven't told anyone, not even Rachel, even though she's my best friend. She's been asking what's going on with me, but I don't know. Missed another track practice. Maybe I should just quit. But coach has been so understanding. Ugh, the car makes my neck so stiff. Ah, ow. Mom lost her job a few months ago. We're supposed to be on some kind of list for a cheap place to live. I don't know. Mom says getting approved might take a while. After Mom lost her job, we went to live with my dad and Grandma. My parents aren't together anymore, but my dad said he wanted to take care of us. It wasn't a good situation though, especially not for Mom. Dad's so nice when he isn't drinking. And Grandma, well, she has so many rules. We were always doing something wrong. Me, even the baby, but especially Mom. But when Dad started yelling, acting all mean and weird and drunk, she'd just ignore it or blame Mom. This sucks, but I'd take it over Grandma's any day. I mean, it's not that bad, as long as the cops don't hassle us again. That was scary. Kayla, can you? Yeah, I got it. Mom's looking for a new job. If she can't get one, I don't know what'll happen. We can't live in the car forever. This looks like a good one, huh? Pay's not that bad. Yeah. What are you working on? You studying for your science test? No, algebra homework. You gotta get that science grade up. I can help you study if you want. Maybe later. All right, well, I gotta get a new cord. My phone died. Wanna use mine? No, I'll work on the application tomorrow at the library. Kayla? Yeah, Mom? You okay, baby? Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
And the winner of the 2025 GMIC Award for Outstanding Work of Short Form Graphic Medicine is Sunflowers by Keezy Young, published by Silver Sprocket. In addition to being a beautiful comic with wonderful artwork, Sunflowers also presents the reality of living with bipolar illness in a highly original way, giving the reader new insights into the condition. The judges added that Sunflowers highlights issues that they had not necessarily considered previously. Keezy will receive $600 prize money and a commemorative trophy.
Shelley, you need to unmute yourself.
It is now our pleasure to share the shortlist for the 2025 GMIC Award for Outstanding Work of Long-Form Graphic Medicine. The shortlisted works are Ball by Teresa Chehova, art by Stepanka Yislova, and translated by Martha Kuhlman and Teresa Chehova, published by Graphic Mundi. Translated from the original Czech, Bald tells the autobiographical story of journalist Teresa Chehova and her journey with alopecia areata. This comic explores the challenge to identity, to relationships, and to community that the condition presents.
The second nominee is Here I Am Me, an illustrated guide to mental health by Kara Bean, published by Workman Publishing. Author-illustrator Kara Bean takes reader on an illustrated journey to the center of the brain. Each of the 9 chapters in this therapist-recommended book explores a different aspect of mental health, from the brain and the mind to feelings and emotions. Created primarily for teens and tweens, this book is also relevant for adults.
The third book in the long form category is The Heart That Fed, A Father, a Son, and the Long Shadow of War by Carl Shakatano, published by Gallery 13, an imprint of Simon & Schuster. This graphic memoir, structured around interwoven timelines between Carl and his father, alternates between the Vietnam War and the present day, showing the consequences of war and intergenerational trauma in one family.
The next nominee is The Jellyfish by Baum, translated by Robin Lang and Helga Dasher, published by Pow Pow. Our main character, Odette, is a 20-something-year-old with their own place, a steady job at a local bookstore, an adorable pet rabbit, and a budding crush on one of their customers. But Odette is haunted by something only they can see, a jellyfish that's floating in their eye, blocking their vision. It's a seemingly minor annoyance until the jellyfish starts multiplying.
The last nominee in this category is Traces of Madness, written by Fernando Balius, illustrated by Mario Pelliger, and translated by Richard Beevor and Malian Siganga, published by Graphic Mundi. Traces of Madness is Fernando Balius' story of how our thoughts get shipwrecked. Balius' narrative of hearing voices is accompanied by Mario Pelliger's illustrations. The book describes his experience, personal, interpersonal, and social, of mental illness in a deeply nuanced format that goes beyond memoir or essay.
And the winner of the 2025 GMIC Award for Outstanding Work of Long-Form Graphic Medicine is The Jellyfish by Baum, published by Pow Pow. Jellyfish is a tale of gradual sight loss and the grief and depression and adjustment that goes with it. The judges loved the graphic style, the understated storyline, and the way that the narrative could relate to any slow, degenerative disease, especially an invisible disease. Baum will receive $600 prize money and a commemorative trophy.
Huge congratulations and many thanks to all of our nominees and to the winners in each category. Ian Williams, who oversaw the final judging, was unable to join us this year, but he did send a statement about this year's judging process for us to share. Ian Williams says, "As ever, it was a pleasure and a privilege to read the 15 works in the shortlist. The process this year was all the more exciting for having the new category of educational comics. We were keen to see what had been submitted. As it turned out, the field was strong in all three categories, although there were a couple of entries that could have worked in different categories. We had a very enjoyable judges' meeting with interesting debate and strong opinions, but in the end, there was broad agreement regarding the winning entries, which stood out because of their masterly artwork, original narratives, and deft storytelling."
Congratulations to all of our nominees and winners tonight. And we now would like to invite any of the award winners who would like to say a few words to raise their virtual hands, and we will call on you. And while we do that, I'll add that these awards were envisioned, created, and are administered not to champion one or two works of graphic medicine, but many. The award was conceived by our donors and the board to be in service of the mission of GMIC, which is to guide and support the use of comics in health. Our hope is that this annual engagement by the larger GMIC community with a very deliberative and careful award process will result in enthusiasm and awareness promoting all of these wonderful graphic medicine works. I'm going to stop sharing our slides here.
Thanks, MK, and thanks for everyone being here tonight. For especially EST people, we are aware of the fact that this is quite late, but we are absolutely delighted that Sarah, Maya, and Baum are with us. So we invite them if they would like to share something. Maya, go ahead, please.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much. I'm extremely honored by this award, and I was blown away by every single contribution that I saw a sample of. And there's so many that I want to read now that I hadn't encountered yet. So, like, thank you so much. It was really impactful for me to work on this book, and I'm very excited that it's been honored and recognized by this community that's like celebrating such incredible work. So, thank you so much.
Sarah, would you like to say something as well?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. Similarly, just feeling very honored and grateful right now, just to see all the other vital work that's going on right now, abortion access, cancers that affect LGBTQ populations disproportionately, all things that are being scrubbed from federal websites. So it's really inspiring to see the work of fellow academics and authors, still getting this information out to the public and to communities who need it. And it was really just a deep joy to work on this with Maya and with our participants and everyone who contributed to the work. So thanks for recognizing it.
Congratulations again. Baum is also here. Baum, go ahead, please.
Hi, I'd just like to say that, oops, sorry, I had a cat. My name is Boom, like boom, the explosion.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's French. It's normal that people are confused sometimes. I'm really honored by this. I found it really interesting because graphic medicine is not a term that exists in the French comics world. At least I don't think so. Or if it has, it's recent, and I hadn't heard of it until recently. And I found out that I was naturally attracted to graphic medicine works even before I knew what they were. And so I read them and I make them. The Jellyfish is not my first graphic medicine book, even though I hadn't known the term for it before. So it's a real honor to win. I mean, I'm quite pleasantly surprised. And I'm looking forward to reading all the other books and stories and short stories, hoping I can get my hands on them at some point, because I need those. Congrats, everyone.
Wonderful. And yeah, if you go to, and this is for everyone as well, if you go to the Graphic Medicine website on the graphicmedicine.org, on the homepage, all of the shortlists were linked, named and linked. So as much as we were able to make them available, we always try to. So hopefully through those links, you can get your hands on a lot of the works you might not have read. Okay, so I'm going to quickly reshare our slides, if you'll bear with me. Yeah, Abru, did you want to? It's nothing to do with this slide, but yeah.
There we go. The GMIC Awards Committee thanks all the funders who make this awards process possible. Thanks to Tom Hart and Saul team for this wonderful weekend of events. We know that tomorrow there's more events. Thanks to GMIC board members, member Alex Thomas for designing all of our fabulous logos. Thanks as well as to the team at Brock University Makerspace who built this year's commemorative award on last year's designs, which were created by the team of the Technical University of the Shannon, Athlone, Ireland. So the winners, keep an eye on your email. More emails are coming from me.
Oh, I think MK has an example of the.
Yes, I will share that when we finish this. Yes,
Okay.
I'll share that. Yeah.
So congratulations again to all the shortlisted works and the winners, and thank you to everyone who submitted. It was a joy to read your work. Submissions for the 2026 GMIC Awards will be open in January. So be sure to watch our social media, newsletter, and website for more information.
And of course, we're reminding that donations are still being accepted to meet the matching grant for these awards. If you're able, please donate by following the link that I just put in the chat.
Thanks for all your attention tonight, and we are excited to start the process again next year.
So yeah, the slide there I have up shows what is going on tomorrow. These comics readings have just been mind-blowing. This is just such a wonderful thing, and there'll be another workshop tomorrow. And so that's really exciting. And I'm going to stop the share here to show you, in case any of you hadn't had the opportunity. So this is the award from last year, the commemorative award. And it was 3D printed and designed in Athlone, Ireland. And this year's will be a little bit different, but basically built on that same 3D design. So that's what the award looks like. And as soon as we have a beautiful version of it, we'll share that in our weekly newsletter and on the website. So thank you again, everyone, for your attention tonight. This concludes the GMIC Awards, and we hope to see you tomorrow and throughout the year and next year. It's a very exciting process. And thank you again to our donors, all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to you all. Thanks, MK.
Yeah, thank you. Yay. It's so nerve-wracking because I keep being afraid that I would hit the wrong thing and end the video prematurely, and then I wouldn't know where to find it again. And then like the other thing is one year I accidentally started or accidentally hit the slide and the winner was shown before we were there. And so like the whole thing makes me so nervous. So it all went off without a glitch. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.